Welcome back to FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. I'm Flex, and today we're diving into a full top-down analysis on Bitcoin. We're also going to see some updates on XRP, Cardano, and gold. As usual, we're going to start from the higher time frames, work our way down to the lower time frames, and see if we find any good setups. Now remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades. Always do your own research and trade at your own risk. Okay guys, let's get to it. And we're starting off with the weekly chart. Again, last month in April, we closed, actually let me show you the monthly chart. We closed superbly right here with this big green flex candle. So that's been amazing. The 21-day moving average has been going up, is now at 67,379. We've head over to the weekly chart and we're above the 21-day moving average, which is currently at 92,410, and the weekly stochastics are on the way up. Currently right now it's 6:24 p.m. Eastern time and the price of Bitcoin is 96,667. So we have a long way to go before we even tap that 21-day moving average on the weekly. We head over to the 4-day chart. The stochastics are getting high, but we still got move to drag here. We're above the 21-day moving average. We're starting to flag out here a little bit. So this is also looking bullish as well. This could also be some type of a cup and handle that could blast us out. We just have to give it some time. Taking a look at the daily chart. Yesterday I told you the stochastics that this looked like it was curving up, and it does look like that. So we might get a little hump here, big hump, and now we might get a little hump here, or maybe a bigger hump before we drop down. So that to me is bullish, because it shows that even though we're toppy with the stochastics, we could continue to break out. And now guys, let's zoom in into the 21 and the 200-day moving average. Look how close they are now. They're finally touching now. Now all that has to happen in a few days is we'll cross. Possibly by Monday we'll fully cross and we'll get closer to price action. Today was a big day. We went all the way to 97,900, basically let's call it almost 98k. So the prediction of 99k to 100,000 is very close. I could see that getting hit by this weekend, if not by next week. And we're flagging out here. We put the pattern. You see that I have the daily chart in a flag. Remember, there is some bearish divergence. The price is going up here with this red line that I'm showing you, and on the RSI we are going kind of flat. So we have to keep that in mind, that we could drop, especially after having a little topping tail here. We still have about an hour and a half before the daily candle does close. But as long as we stay above the 200-day moving average and the 21-day moving average, we are still golden. Currently the 200-day moving average is at 90,000. So we could drop all the way down to there. As long as we maintain that price, we are still bullish. Head over to the 12-hour chart. The stochastics are starting to point up. So you can see the 21-day moving average is touching price action. We're breaking out of this flag a little bit, but we got to still give it more time in order for things to play out. Let's head over to the 4-hour chart. And in the 4-hour chart, we've been maintaining the structure of this flag. As you can see, we broke out here today. This is where we almost went to 98,000. The stochastics here are toppy. It looks like we might start falling down here because the stochastics are curving down. And if that happens, the 21-day moving average is at 95,654. So it's possible that we could still drop down there. I was telling you guys, we have to be careful that this could have been a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, but that did not play out, thankfully. And now it looks like we're flagging out. So we can actually draw a little flag here. And if we draw a flag and we do the measured move of this move looks like it could break us out to the rest of this flag here, which is basically at 101k. So I could see how this could happen, but since the stochastics are a little bit high, it is possible. We have to keep in mind that we could drop down to the 21-day moving average. Again, all we have to do is hold that. The weekend is coming. It usually slows down a little bit, but I expect by next week we should possibly reach that 100k level. Let's take a look at the 1-hour chart. The stochastics are low, so probably for the next couple of hours we're probably still going to be, in this price range here. We could probably even fall down to this 50-day moving average on the hour, which is at 96,267, which is nothing. That's basically where we were yesterday. And on the 15-minute chart, we're dragging here on the bottom, about to start curving up, and we're below the 21-day moving average here. So the 200-day moving average, if we continue dropping, is at 96,257, which would make sense for the 1 hour. Like I said, the stochastics are a little bit still on the way down for it to drop down to the 50-day moving average. So that's basically there. there the breakdown for Bitcoin. My sentiment is we still got to give it some time. Weekend is going to be a little bit slow, so we have to see what happens for next week. That's when I expect a bigger move towards 100K. Now let's move over to XRP. XRP is currently at $2.20. You know, we made some moves all the way to about $2.36, which was pretty good. But let's see here on the weekly, low stochastics, we're on the way up here on the stochastics, but as you can see, we're below the 21-day moving average. On Bitcoin, we're above the 21-day moving average, so we need to be able to break the 21-day moving average, which is currently at $2.40, to get bullish here. And remember, Bitcoin is the first runner. Bitcoin usually runs first, and once it starts to get exhausted, the price is high, and now you're not making as many gains. That's when people start looking towards the altcoins, who start taking their profits from Bitcoin, put it into the altcoins, and now the altcoins start running up. But we need Bitcoin to go up first, and then the altcoins start running later, unless there's specific news to that coin. Now that the stochastics on the weekly are low and they're going to start going up, I could see the 21-day moving average breaking up here, so we got to look out for that. We take a look at the daily stochastics are on the way down. We are above the 21-day moving average, but there's a lot of wickage here. This could be a head and shoulders, and we do a measured move of this head and shoulders. Not a big head and shoulders, but this could drop us down back to the 200-day moving average or below. This is calculating about 195 or 2004 cents, so we still got to give it some time to play out. These are some patterns that I drew. I had a head and shoulders here that was possible, but it looks like we're not going to be making that move. But overall, I do have XRP in a big falling wedge, which could take us all the way to $3.32. So that's something that I'm expecting to happen sometime this month, maybe next month, after Bitcoin does its big run. We head over to the 4-hour chart. Again, this could be some type of a head and shoulder pattern as well. The stochastics are a little bit toppy here. It does look like we're about to start falling down on the 4 hours, so I'm not expecting anything big for XRP at the moment. Again, we have to wait for Bitcoin and see what that wants to do. And let's just look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour stochastics are also on the way down. Okay, let's take a look at Cardano. And Cardano, let's start it off with the weekly. I also have it on the falling wedge. I've been having it there for a very long time, all the way since March. If this pops up, I'm expecting $1.60 here on Cardano. Take away these patterns, we see that we are, just like XRP, below the 21-day moving average, and we're trying to break the 200-day moving average. We wicked down from there. The stochastics are low, so it's possible we do break the 200. That's going to be the first line of offense there. We break that, then we break the 21, then we start getting bullish. So this is exactly what we're looking for. We take a look at the daily. The daily is also going down. We are above the 21-day moving average. Again, we have to break that 200-day moving average, which is currently at 77 cents. Cardano as of late has gone all the way up to like 74, 75 cents, but the 200-day moving average is at 77 cents. So we still need some time. We need to look at Bitcoin, make sure that that breaks up, and then we can expect more from Cardano as well. The 4-hour stochastics are pointing down. We rejected from the 21-day moving average at 69.81, and now the 200-day moving average is at 65 cents. I wouldn't be surprised if we fall all the way down to the 200-day moving average as the 4-hour comes down, and then we pop up from there. We do not want to lose the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour. Again, if we start losing it on the 4-hour, it starts dragging into higher time frames. We'll lose it on the 6, we'll lose it on the 8. On the 8, we already kind of lost it a little bit, but we could probably start popping back up, and it looks a little curvy, but it looks like we could go up there. Now let's take a look at gold. And gold, guys, we had this topping tail. We made all the way to 3,500 basically on gold. We're currently at 3,240 on this topping tail. I said we were too far away from the 21-day moving average. The stochastics on the weekly are toppy here. As you can see in crypto right now, XRP, Cardano, and Bitcoin, the stochastics are actually oversold, and we're on the way up. Now in gold, we're overbought and we're pointing down, and we're far away from the 21-day moving average, which is currently at 2,913. I did draw this flag here, and as you can see perfectly, we dropped down. We got into the pattern of the flag, and it looks like we could continue dropping down. Maybe like Bitcoin, we could continue going sideways and wait for the 21-day moving average to touch price, and then from there we could do another move. This could take a couple of weeks, couple of months for that to happen. We got to see what ends up happening with gold. And the daily chart, we're starting to get low on the stochastics, but we could still drag here for a long time as well, and we're fighting the 21-day moving average. Yesterday we bounced off of it a little bit, but now today it looks like we're losing it. So we're trying to maintain the levels. The ending of this pattern is about 3,175. So to stay inside of this flag and go up and down, we can't really lose 3,175. So take a look at the 4-hour chart. Also a little bit toppy there with the stochastics. We're not above the 21-day moving average, and look where the 200-day moving average is at 3,165. So this is just showing me that we're possibly at least going to drop down to that, and then we'll see what ends up happening. This could also end up being head and shoulders here, which makes sense that we drop down. And let's take a look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour looks like we're coming back, but look, we're below the 200-day moving average, below the 21-day moving average. So maybe we'll go up, but we could fold over. We got to reclaim the 200-day moving average here on gold to remain bullish. So guys, that's basically the breakdown for Bitcoin, for XRP, for Cardano, and for gold. If this gave you clarity or a setup to watch, do me a favor, like, drop a comment, and subscribe. And if you have a stock or crypto you want me to go over, drop it in the comment section. This is FlexCandle, where we read the candles and flex the moves. Check you out in the next chart.